Fire brigade.
Yeah, hello, hi, in the fire in Grenfell Tower. Quick.
They're on their
It's
way
burning.
already. Yes, I know it's burning, as long as you're okay.
Grenfell on Netflix. 2 years in the making, and for the director, the telling of a tragedy in 100 minutes.
Yeah, the story of Grenfell is almost impossible to be told in any length of minutes. We hope the documentary is going to be a strong call for change. We hope it will start conversations, continue conversations. It will keep the story of Grenfell alive. I want people to feel like this shouldn't happen again. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. One of the most shocking things for me coming into this was just how avoidable it was. I didn't realise just how avoidable Grenfell was, and I hope people feel the same when they watch it.
You actually knew one of the residents?
Yes, I knew Khadija Say, who sadly passed away in a fire. She was an artist, and she was doing amazing work, and she was really breaking down barriers in her field, and unfortunately she passed away with her mum in the fire.
Did that proximity to the tragedy help in any way?
In some ways, no. I felt like even if I didn't know someone that passed away, the story of Grenfell felt very familiar to me. It felt very close. As a Londoner and as someone that grew up in a similar building for a significant period of my childhood, it just felt like very close to home in some ways. And I think either way I felt invested and close to the Grenfell story, regardless of whether I knew someone or not. But I definitely felt there was a responsibility on my shoulders to make sure I did the story justice.
Somebody had been grossly negligent.
This is described as sticking a petrol tanker to the outside of a building. This was this huge corporate scandal. There's internal emails that say, oops, we are not clean.
I've seen the documentary, it's very good.
Thank you.
It's also surprisingly technical.
Yeah, I think we leaned into the technical side of things because we felt like a lot of people knew a fire had happened, but not everyone knew how and maybe understood why. So we wanted to unpack that in a forensic way, and we wanted to make that digestible for everyone to understand. And I think when you break down the technical side and the systemic side of things, you get an understanding of just how avoidable Grenfell was.
I remember my dad filling up the bathtub with water and literally just putting in so many towels, making sure they're drenched.
The documentary features Luana Gomez, who eventually escaped from the 21st floor with her family.
There was an importance for us to hone in on some of the more vulnerable members of society who were failed in the night. You know, people disabled with disabilities, the elderly, the young. And I think understanding the fire and how it felt to be escaping a burning building, perspective of someone who was 12 years old at the time, I think will just really put things into perspective for others to know just how damaging and devastating that fire was.
Feel free to ask me as many questions as you like, but use your time wisely. Right.
Is it important to get Grenfell out to as many platforms as possible and get a Netflix audience knowing about what happened here?
Yeah, naturally Netflix has a reach that some broadcasters don't have. So for us to be able to tell the story of Grenfell on a platform like Netflix does give us a global audience, and one we think would value knowing the story of Grenfell. Grenfell is not a local story, though some might feel like it is. It transcends many countries, so hopefully people around the world will be able to watch it.
And you've now shown it to bereaved and survivors and members of the community.
The reception was very, as you can imagine, quite emotional. Heartwarmingly positive. There's a lot of people who are still waiting for justice. I would tell everyone to please watch. I think people will be enlightened. I think they'll be informed. I think they'll hopefully feel angry.
Everyone is blaming each other.
Dishonesty, malign governance, and greed.
Why did this have to happen? Why?
Grenfell Uncovered is streaming on Netflix.